Alright, so this is a really brief video just to help you calculate the calories in the food sample you had. So as you can see, it says calculations for each food sample. It's a simple equation for us today. This is all we need to know. Now this may look complicated, but really it's three numbers or variables multiplied into one another. And if you are able to cross out the right units, you end up with this wonderful calorie. So when we're done with this simple calculation, we'll be able to know what the calorie value was of the food that you burned in the calorimetry lab. So just to go over these variables, Q equals calories as it shows here. And in order to get there, we need to multiply the mass of the water that was in the can. So the mass of most people was 50, and we'll look at it in a minute. You have the C variable. The C variable is unique. It helps us get this final calorie value. But you can see it's 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. Now this value is easy to use because it really is, if you exclude the units, really you just have 1. So you're multiplying your mass of water times 1 times the change in temperature of the water. So we had a final temperature, we had an initial temperature. What you'll do is subtract your final temperature, your highest temperature, minus or subtract the first temperature you took before it got heated by the food. And so if you multiply that the change in temperature multiplied by 1 and then the mass for water, you'll end up with the calories. All right, this answer is going to look larger than you expect until you divide by 1,000 calories. So if we divide the answer we get, so when we get the Q equals value, it'll look really large. But when you divide it by 1,000, you'll get a calorie amount that may seem low, but it's the same form of calories we see on nutritional labels, which is called a kilocalorie. So by dividing our Q answer by 1,000, we'll get our kilocalories, which are more useful for us because it's the form of the calorie that we use on nutritional facts. So when you're looking at the label on food. Okay, let's look at the spreadsheet we have and just do a simple calculation real quick. So here am I, and I'm just going to do a quick solving for the different variables. So in my example and ours, M always, so the mass of water, always equals 50. So assuming you measured properly. If you measured precisely, you'll have, it should be 50 grams worth of mass. Notice I didn't put the G in here, but it's 50 grams. Your CP value is going to be 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. And in this example, my change in temperature, so when I went ahead and subtracted, sorry about that. So when I subtracted the final temperature minus the initial temperature, I got 30. Now this is just a made-up number. I created it, okay? So, and then when you take 50 times 1 times 30, 50 times 1, as you can see in Excel, you use asterisk signs. So if you want to multiply, you start with equal, parentheses, 50, asterisk 1, asterisk 30, close parentheses, and just with this right here, this would give us, as you can see, 1,500. Now we know the food we burned, 1,500 calories is very high. Because that's so high, what we want to do is convert it to kilocalories. We do that by dividing it by the 1,000. When we divide it by the 1,000, you can see the number goes down to 1.5. So 1.5. So Q equals 1.5 in this example. Now, that is quite low, but that, according to this thing, is we got 1.5 calories from our food sample. Now, that's not per gram, that's over all the grams of the food you had. So if your food sample was 3 grams worth of a food item, then that 3 grams gave you 1.5 calories, which seems low. But with our calculations, we always have to make sure that we didn't have any experimental error, we didn't mismeasure any of our variables like mass or the change in temperature. But ultimately, whatever value you get is what you'll input, and we'll look and analyze it later. All right, good luck. You're solving for Q.